Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about this derivatives thing, because derivatives, or whatever you want to call them. Um, I'm going to just put this in plain 101 common sense, because I don't even want to understand what a derivative is. I know it's like a bet or an option or some shit. I looked it up one time and had to look it up before so I could basically understand it. But there's like a lot of money in derivatives, right? I mean, I know like on the internet, there's a lot of people that, if you tell them like derivatives, they already think of banksters, they think of Rothschilds, they think of like money that's being held, that's by, crooks and all this type of stuff. I don't know, but what I think is that derivatives basically is money that could maybe disappear at one point in time. Actually disappear. I know Pastor Lindsey Williams says that everything on a piece of paper is going to go to zero. That's what his elite friend told him. That's probably not what his elite friend told him. I'm going to assume he's got an elite friend. I think he does. I'm going to use my instincts a little bit. Not exactly instincts, but certain things he says that pick up that I think it's factual. Because he has been around the oil people for a number of years, and I think he has kept contact with them. And I think even this guy that's giving him information now, I don't know. It's coming from one person, so how good is it? Whether he's up there or not, whether he's got a lot of wealth, doesn't mean he knows everything. George Soros doesn't know everything. And oh, by the way, George Soros is not really against gold at all. Not at all. And he actually said that. I just want to add that in here. But as far as like derivatives wealth, I think that kind of wealth could disappear. It's basically like a bet or an option or something like that. I don't understand it. I'm not going to even try to make. I could look up definitions right now and act like I know this, and I'm not even going to bother. I'm just using plain, simple common sense. But some things I was exposed to on private placement platform, PPP trades, and it's closed to the public. They're secret. There's people out there that got serious money, and I was curious about looking them up on the Forbes list, and they weren't all Russians. Some were, the various nations and stuff. But they would do these trades, and I always figured, no matter how complicated it is, you got winners and you got losers. That's really what it is. It's like a gamble, except it's a lot fancier, with different types of trading platforms. And actually, the people that were running these things were very well degreed. People I didn't really meet. Those people I didn't meet. The ones who are actually running the trading platforms, I didn't meet them. But the money that they would get on this, from the trades that they did on these private placement programs, they would actually go into derivatives and be held in offshore accounts. And I was like, I never got a cut of that. And basically, certain people did, and other people, very few people did. There was a lot of bullshit promises, but it didn't happen. But that's what I assumed too. I knew that was gonna. See, my thing is, I use like real plain common sense. I don't go for the big enchilada at the end because I think it's all gonna. I just say, take little bits. It's whatever you wire right now is what counts. I don't think about bird in the bush. We got 3 over here. Let's get them. I think about what we get right now. So but I was in control of that deal, so I would have actually got a piece of that by one way or the other. But the winnings basically from these deals, or winnings or whatever it is from the trades or whatever it is, they were put in these derivatives in offshore accounts. And actually one of them went into this internet. It was like strictly an internet bank in Spain. That it was it was the internet bank. I forgot. I don't know the freaking name of it even. But the guy, he talked almost like like a real geek. He had a really funny. And I was like thinking, man, I wouldn't be putting any money in with this guy. But that's what happened. And went in there. And but what I always think about is that's the type of money that's in derivatives, and I know everybody knows, oh, the derivatives bubble, it's like a cliche, but that money could actually disappear. I think it will. And actually, if that money is in danger of disappearing, they may want to grab something tangible that's a hard asset real fast. And the fastest thing you can really grab that's a hard asset that's tangible, that's very liquid and tradable, is precious metals. I mean, you could buy like land, but it's going to take a little bit to do that, close out the deal, negotiate, and all that type of stuff. You could buy artwork, but you're not really. You really need. If you're going to spend, if you had $1 billion in derivatives, and you're to say, oh, I want to get artwork, you got to find the artwork. You got to try to find like a value, what the value is. If it's value too high, value too low. Because if you have all this money, you're not going to know, where do I put it next? Do I know about art? Do I know about this land? Do I know what's wrong with these mineral rights or whatever the hell I'm going to buy? So the simplest thing you can do is just buy metals if you're afraid that the derivatives are going to disappear. So there could be at one point in time a panic into the metals from that angle too. That the derivatives bubble is bursting per se, as the cliche goes. Now, to just talk about the silver manipulation, let's just call it that, okay? Actually, looking at all the commodities went down Friday and today, or yesterday, Monday. But silver really got hit bad, and gold. I mean, them two really got nailed. I mean, copper's down, aluminum's down, oil's down, even platinum and palladium's down. Those are down pretty hard, but not like silver and gold. They really got hammered. Now, part of the rumor that, let me just put it this way. I know there's a lot of leverage in the system, but sometimes I realize that, we always say that the paper system or the electronic system is manipulating the spot price. And a little common sense says that, if you gave one of these Wall Street schmucks, a pick and a shovel, and they told them to go dig out the gold themselves, they couldn't do it for a freaking price they're saying the spot price should be. I could be playing that, putting it that to them like that too. Go get it, buddy, for $1,400 an ounce or $1,350 or whatever you think it is, right? Or silver at 22 or 23 or 25 or whatever. Go dig it out yourself at that price, and that's what we'll pay you for your work. $23 an ounce after you dig it out. Well, I'm just kind of kidding here, but as far as the electronic markets, I just want to bring up an old story. I mean, it's a factual thing, 100%. But you can kind of infer from there what it means. But there was this guy, I don't know if he's Russian or Eastern European. It was Sergey something or other. His first name was Sergey. He worked for Goldman Sachs, and they found out he downloaded some proprietary software, trading software, and they basically got him on a plane. Like they nailed him right there when he's coming off the plane or something, and he was charged and convicted in December of 2010, and he's sent to prison for 97 months. So, a hell of a long time, right? So, what is that, 8 years or something like that? But, yeah, I guess it's 8 years. Yeah, it's 8 years and a month, right? But, the thing is, when he was in court and they were talking about this, he said it was a way that the software could actually manipulate the market, basically. I don't think he used that word, but it can actually affect which way the market moves, which pretty much comes down to the same thing. So, there's a hell of a lot more to the story than just what even he says. There's probably a lot more to it than even this guy even knew about. So, big banks are influencing the commodities markets. And, I think the only way to actually break it is if there's like a physical trade. Forget about the futures market. Just trade the metal itself. And actually that's when it be, go get this stuff out of the ground at $25 an ounce or whatever for silver, or 30, even 30. 30's too low. They won't make money. So, but, I think also that Andrew Maguire, when he's the guy knows a lot of stuff. I know Raw Dog talked about him. Raw Dog is kind of like abrasive a little bit, but I mean Andrew Maguire. I mean he could. I don't know like metals like that guy. I just know like little stuff. Okay, but I look at things common sense because there's so many people you can run into that are experts in all these areas and hit you with all these different things you don't know about. You gotta like hit it with a little bit of absurdity checks, and a little common sense. The guy is basically involved in the metals trade, so he's always going to want to present himself as an insider for one. And he's a real person; he's not fake. But this thing about an imminent default of the London Bullion Exchange, he's the only guy that said it. Well, I don't want to get my hopes up. I would hope they default, because if they default, silver might be like over $50 an ounce inside of no time. It really could. I forgot when it was, when the exchange defaulted one time with the metal nickel, decades ago or something, whatever it was, 20 years ago. I forgot. I don't even know when it was exactly, but it went like that, like ballistic. But that's not going to happen because this guy's basically, I think he's full of it. He's making up stories or some shit. Now, you can maybe think I might making up a story about some of these billionaire things, but that don't mean shit, actually, because they didn't give me nothing. Well, actually, I wasn't dealing with him directly enough. Actually, if I was dealing with him more directly, I probably would have got something out of it because I wouldn't have asked for much. Usually that's one thing. If you actually keep the price of your services low enough, they pay you, because they figure it's a good deal. But, some people ask for too much. You're not going to be an instant multi-millionaire because you're in on the deal, but that's what happens sometimes. But, be nice, but, hey, if I got hooked up with millions and millions of dollars, like off of some crazy trades like that, I mean, I probably would be burying it in the ground in gold too, just like Mark Farber, putting a large percent of it in there. And I just want to relate this other story. Actually, it was some years ago. I think it was in 2009 or 8 or something. This coin dealer down in Florida, actually, I don't know him, but a friend of mine knows him, that when he closed down his shop because he's afraid of gold confiscation. And that was one of the reasons I kind of decided to get into palladium more than gold. Because I figure, what are they going to do? Confiscate catalytic converters? I mean, really? I mean, that's where palladium is found. I mean, you can get recycled catalytic converters, and if palladium went up a lot, I mean, you could store it in the form of catalytic converters. How are they going to confiscate that? What are they going to do? Confiscate cars too? The government's going to go up to your car and cut off your catalytic converter. So I mean, they're not going to confiscate that stuff. But he actually thought that they're going to confiscate gold. And and I heard Mark Farber recently talk about that he's sure that the government will take a good part of his wealth. I think that's what he means. They're actually going to they probably won't confiscate gold completely, but they'll take a good percentage of it, or make you trade it in at a certain price, or set the price or something, or regulate it somehow. Because if there's that much of an emergency, if gold goes way the hell up, there's some astronomical bubble like $5,000 or $6,000 an ounce in a few years from now. It could even be 2016 versus 2017. It could all be within the Obama administration all the way, pretty much. But if it goes up to some price like that, there's going to be major tax laws coming out, because they'll have excise taxes, they'll have all kinds of special rules. They got to take their cut. I mean, if fiat money didn't exist, gold didn't exist, and they didn't have silver, say silver didn't exist and copper didn't exist, which if you were raising chickens and hens and goats and cows, they'd come by and they'd take some of them. Just how it is, man. unless you fight them back or something. You have a little revolution, but I don't know about that. But that's really what it is. They're going to take a piece of something if it gets up really high. They'll tell the rest of the public that somebody's there's a gold cartel that made it that way or some shit, and the rest of the public will say, "Oh yeah, we need that because we need to have our entitlements," So it'll happen. It'll happen. But I do want to say there is a lot of bullshit out there. But I know some things. I saw some things. The derivatives market, the derivatives to me is like it's fluff. But I don't know when it's going to blow up. They've been talking about this a long time. And it's like, oh, it's just around the corner. Oh, it's just around the corner. But it may actually be coming to a head at one point in time. And that is probably what Lindsey Williams was told. I don't think he relates what he's told. I'm reading now that he's so emotional and so stupid sometimes that he's not that bad, I guess, but it's like I don't think he's actually getting it out exactly right the way this guy's telling it to him. And now that I'm thinking about it, the paper that or things that are on paper, as he says, quote unquote, it's probably going to be derivatives that blow up, and there's probably a lot of that. Even the ETFs, there's been a lot of talk about investigating the ETFs, the things that people invest in, these stock tickers. There's one on copper, there's one on agriculture, there's one on this, there's one on that. It could be silver, gold, corn, anything, right? Those things probably aren't that safe. Long term, there may be major problems in the financial system. So, actually, I plan is if the commodities go up and I got gains on the electronic markets, they don't have to be huge gains like doubles or something. I'm just going to get rid of this stuff and sit on the cash and put it in the credit union. And then as things fall apart, I'm going to get rid of the metals, piece at a time. So, actually in a way, I am going to the U.S. dollar. I am. I don't think it's going to go to oblivion. That's where these guys are. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. If the dollar goes to oblivion, then the elite lose control. The Western elite lose control. I'm using plain 101 common sense. That's why I don't think it's going to total oblivion. If the dollar went to total oblivion, that would mean that the United States lost a major conflict or major war or something like that. Like New York City was bombed and the whole city was destroyed. The dollar would go to oblivion then. But if that happened, you'd have much more major problems than just the dollar going to oblivion. We'd be going right back to square one. There'd be like total chaos. Some other power would come into the vacuum. That's how the dollar can go to oblivion. So I don't even want to think about that shit because that's really out there. But otherwise, it's not going to go to oblivion. It's probably just going to lose very likely it's going to lose the World Trade Reserve currency status, whatever the hell it is. That's what's going to happen with it. But it's not going to go to zero. So I'm not afraid to trade metals for dollars at one point in time. But, I wouldn't do it now. God, it's ridiculous. Like I said, those Wall Street bankers need to go figure out how they can, if they can come out there and they have a new way to mine metals for that, $25 an ounce for silver and $1,400 for gold or whatever the hell it is right and coming into now, then go ahead and do it. But, supposedly the experts in the business for all kinds of decades are going to be losing money at those prices. And so I can't see how the futures market is actually causing the price to go that way. I think it's something to do with that software that Sergey kind of walked off with a couple years ago, or maybe something akin to that. That's causing the price to move like that low, especially in gold and silver. But I just want to repeat, I don't know about this Andrew Maguire. I think he's a load of it. So, yeah, forget it. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about it, but there's I don't think Andrew Maguire is, I think he should exist. I think he's very intelligent, but I don't know. I think it's just stories, to tell you the truth, all the way. And I heard a lot of stories, but, I'm not making up any stories about these billionaires or nothing like that, but, I would like to say some of the names. Actually, one guy, If I said who he was, he'd probably get in big trouble with Mr. Putin, the real Mr. Putin, not the little cat. I mean, the real one. So I don't want to say nothing. You know, I ain't gonna say nothing. So, but you know, they're walking. All these guys are walking on a thin wire too. The rich are like freaking predators, man. I don't think most people, even the people that got some millions, they're I don't know, they're total predators. Most people wouldn't want their job at all. They wouldn't want to be in that situation. But I always like being around guys like that, people like that, because, you know, I'd work like to 12, 1 o'clock at night, all the time, all the time. So they they're very aggressive people. So you know, it's a game. So it's kind of fun. It's a competitive game. That's all it is.